A common question we get here at Pinnacle Health Informatics is why so much emphasis on our OLAP data cubes? OLAP stands for Online Analytical Processing, and Pinnacle has cubes that cover the whole breadth of behavioral health from financial to services to episodes to client demographics, etc. The cubes are the key to true data self-service in terms of speed and ease of use. Today we're talking to Gary Clark, a senior developer here at Pinnacle who's intimately involved with cube development, and he's going to explain to us a little bit about cubes and the theory and why they're so useful and efficient. Gary, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Shawn, how are you today?
Doing good, thank you.
Thanks. One of the cubes are our most powerful tool at this point here at Pinnacle. All of our customers use them in one degree or another. We have some of our partners that never use their data warehouse. They strictly use the analysis cubes. The analysis cubes are built on top of a data warehouse layer. They can't really be built from a production system. They have to be built by the or from the data warehouse, and they're generally done on the staging server. This is a real simple three-dimensional cube. Cubes can have literally an infinite number of dimensions. We've broken this one down into three-dimensional structure with a program dimension going horizontally, flat-wise. The time dimension is the up and down, and the measures are going across the face, or across the faces of that dimension. Cubes are a slight trade-off. They are really slow to build in comparison to a data warehouse, for example. They're very CPU intensive while processing on our staging server. And because of the amount of pre-summarized data they contain, cubes also use a lot of storage space. In spite of these shortcomings, there's a giant payoff. All of this pre-summarized data in a cube is delivered lightning fast. It is unbelievably fast. Microsoft will tell you that it's a minimum of 1,000 times faster than a standard relational query. And this is why we use them and why our customers have found them to be so important, is because getting that data back it's just almost instantaneous. Additionally, there are times when a pivot table can't even consume the amount of data. Let's say, for example, you wanted to look at all of the recorded services in your agency. We have agencies with 15 million rows of data. If you try to bring that into a pivot table right out of the data warehouse, your system doesn't have enough memory to handle all of that, and it'll just crash on you if whatever comes. So cubes are a great way to deliver that data back to us. Cubes are organized so that each of these little tiny cubes that you see contains a single value. We call it a tuple. That's a strange word, but it's basically when I combine the following parameters together, that's going to be the value that's in that cube. And during the processing of the cube during the night, that value is loaded into that little cell and stored so that we can rapidly retrieve it. So when we are retrieving data from a cube, we're no longer having to calculate as it comes back from the system. All we're doing is saying, show me the particular cell and deliver that information back to me. So for example, in this one, we have our programs there across the top left: mental health, substance abuse, developmental, and prevention. On the right-hand side, we have the months: January, February, March, April. And then we have the various values that we want to look at for that. We have staff hours, claimed dollars, costs, billing units. So in this case, we're asking the cube to give us, for prevention, show me the billing units for February. So the first thing that happens is we've provided a parameter within our spreadsheet or in our report or whatever that says, only show me the program prevention. Now we could select multiple programs, but for this to keep it very simple, We're selecting a single program. And you can see that that lights up across all of the months and all 4 of our various measures that we're looking at. But what we want to see is billing units for February. Now, as we go to this slide, you can see we've now whittled down and parameterized, so we're only bringing in the billing units. So the billing units for prevention for February. And here you can see that horizontally, in this slice across, we've selected all of the cells that are in February. Now, in the next slide, you can see that there is a single cell that maintains or that contains a piece of data for those 3 dimensions: prevention, billing units for February. That cell holds a number in it, and that is the only cell that holds that number. The number's been pre-calculated during the night. That's where the large amount of CPU time takes place. What we're doing is trading off those nighttime CPU cycles, which, there's relatively little use on the system in the middle of the night. And we're trading that off for daytime CPU cycles, so that during the day, that's the most precious commodity we have, are those 8 to 5 CPU cycles, because every time we go out and we have to calculate a piece of data, that's just chugging away on our CPUs, on our computers, on our servers. And so the cubes help eliminate that by just simply grabbing that one piece of data and retrieving it back. It's virtually instant, and there's hardly any CPU cycles involved.
It's amazing to take people who are not technical. You can take non-technical staff, and within an hour, they're writing complicated queries against these cubes.
Absolutely, Shawn. And the beauty is that no one ever has to know how tables are linked in the background. That's because our staff has spent thousands, literally thousands of hours in the build of these cubes, where all of that linkage that's so hard for people to wrap their heads around, that's all taken care of for you, so that all you have to do is drag and drop the various pieces that you want. I want to see the programs, I want to see it by month, and I just want to look at billing units, or I just want to look at staff hours, or I can look at multiple values. I can drop those into a pivot table, I can put them in a crystal report, I can put them in any format you want. If you're doing statistical analysis, SPSS will work great with a cube. So it's just another tool that can be put in the quiver for the report writer, if you will.
Well, it seems that it's one of the most widely, or one of the most popular and widely used tools that we have. It just seems to be the key for data analysts to get to the data easily. Every other system we've ever seen or used, it seems like it's much more difficult, but this is much, much easier. And really, it's the one thing that's been the most successful for the widest group of people, wouldn't you think?
Oh, absolutely, Shawn.
Well, and the people using them report, thousands of hours saved. I mean, it's literally thousands of hours.
Oh, Shawn, I can write reports that would have taken me 2 or 3 days in crystal reports. I can write literally in a half hour, 10 to 15 minutes for many of them.
Yeah.
And if I'm just working in Excel for an ad hoc query, I can drag and drop that data in 30 seconds and have, a perfectly usable functional report that I can take to a meeting or answer the question of some researcher at the university or something like that. Those are constant requests that we get. And so Excel with these cubes make an unbelievable ad hoc reporting tool.
Well, with that, what we'd like to do is, if anyone's interested in learning more about the cubes, to contact Pinnacle, and we'd be happy to give you a demo, give you a full demo, and show you in just a few minutes how fast and easy these are to use. So, well, thank you very much, Gary.
Thank you, Shawn.